In the interest of time, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, my name is Annette Gartman. I am the chair of the SNRS Student Network Leaders and the Student Network. But we have a group of leaders, 7 or 8 of us, that are elected to lead the student network and also serve on committees that within the main membership of SNRS, just as student representatives. So students make up about 50% of SNRS now. So we have quite a large student group. So we're so glad y'all are here. I know we have a small group, but that's okay. We are going to record this so we can share it. Probably we've got to vote on that as a group and make sure that's what we want to do. But then also, you know, we just want to make connections and meet y'all and kind of, you don't have to turn your cameras on if you don't want. Maybe at the end we can go around if we have time and introduce, you know, ourselves. But we just really want to help support and connect with students within SNRS and also just share. Today it's just about sharing, our knowledge and experience, what it is that we have developed, those of us that have been doing this for a little while. So I am at Texas Women's University and I am in my 4th year. So I slowed down. So I'm actually a year behind my original cohort, which is totally fine. Um, Family things that happen. So anyway, I'm going to share my screen so y'all can kind of follow along a little bit. So Casey with SNRS, she developed this great little slide deck for us. So we have, 4 main topics we're going to talk about today. And I want to just quickly introduce the leaders that are here so that we can kind of just say hi to them. So we have our chair-elect, Alana, and then we have Fiona and we have Holly, who are part of the leadership group. And so tips and tricks to be a student and still be human, because I think that we are all craving that balance. And how do we sustain this level of intensity as a student and also life and personal self, care, all the things. So, um, who wanted to start out with connections with your cohort? I'll be honest, y'all. I didn't have anybody's name down beside this topic. The rest of them I have assigned. So if anyone wants to start, I'll share what I do for connections with my cohort. And that is, in our very first year, I reached out to 2 of fellow students. This was in statistics, and it was towards the end of our very first semester. And I just said, "Hey, would y'all like to jump on a Zoom and talk about the statistics homework?" And so we did that, and then we were like, "Oh, this was so helpful just to hear, like, what is your thoughts?" We didn't actually share the homework with each other as far as our answers and stuff. We just talked about, like, okay, how did you get to this? How did you get to that? And we like would confirm, like, okay, I got this answer. I got this answer. Of course, we had to show all of our work. So, we helped each other through that. And then it just became a weekly thing. And this was so for 3 years, every week during the fall and spring semester, we have met. Some summers we'll go like every other week. But we have jumped on Zoom and just, you know, it started out just, we were in a lot of the same classes. And then now, we're at different spots, but we meet every other week and we still just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? We set it to an hour max. Um, and of course, if you can't show up, it's no big deal. Like, 2 of us are moms, one, all 3 of us are faculty in nursing programs and are working. So It's just support. And it's just finding someone that you can relate to like that. Now, the other connection, now that I'm in a cohort behind my original cohort, I reached out to a person we have the same dissertation chair. So I found out she had the same chair as who was going to be my chair, and we're at the same level. So we're both in the same, course right now, designing our study and submitting our IRB. And so she and I have Zoomed some and text a lot. And so that's how I've stayed connected with my cohort. Um, does anyone else want to share?
I think I had very similar experience. We had, I think, 8 of us in the cohort. And I have to say, to this day, nobody dropped out. And I'm finishing up, I'm in my 4th year. One of our cohort members graduated in the summer, but that person went full time and just powered through it. But the rest of us are still there. Nobody dropped out. But what we did was we kind of did um, through the WhatsApp and just have that group. Especially, it was very helpful that very first semester, like getting into the habit of checking everything, making sure seeing the deadlines for things, because even though I thought I was very organized, sometimes somebody would say, "Oh, so and so something due like this time," and I'd be like, "What?" So that was very, very helpful to have that. Now, I have to say, over the years, as everybody progressed in a different level, we still have the group chat, but it's dormant. And at some point, I even texted in there saying, "Is everybody still active?" And then one of the cohort members texted me outside of it and said, "Oh, yeah, we're just at the different stages." Okay. But the very first 2 years, it was very helpful. Staying connected, kind of getting through those elements. And then what happened is what we did with our university, we created the drop-in sessions in the evening, 1 day a week. Actually, no, it wasn't weekly. It's more like either every 2 weeks or something like that, to where anybody can drop in, and there were some faculty members that could bring up anything to discuss, to join different cohorts, so that we felt like it was more important to have the those that are in later stages of their PhD program with those that are just starting to connect and help get through all of those hurdles.
So for me, similar to exactly what Alana and Annette said, but I would even, we have our WhatsApp group that's super active. It's a group of 6 of us, originally started with a cohort. And I think what also helps us to become so connected is we share our personal things too. I mean, honestly, we're the only people, including y'all now, like that know what it is to survive a PhD class, a PhD semester, PhD, the whole program. So we kind of rely on each other, and like it's become friendships beyond just sharing the class assignments and things, which I think has definitely helped us to ground us. And some days we're like, I quit. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And then we encourage each other. Or like I'm dying at home, like I'm dying here, I'm dying there, whatever. So I think that that is huge for my cohort. And then we also have the WhatsApp group for our entire program, PhD program, which includes anyone in the cohort, anyone that's an active student, and then even some people that have recently graduated are still on that group, which is also really helpful to help navigate those transitions from being the student to becoming a faculty member or nurse scientist, or wherever we end up rolling out to. But I think that's really important, is to get that emotional connection beyond just the class part of it, which we do a lot, of course, too. But it also helps, I think.
Yeah, I can add on to that since Fiona and I both go to UT. I'm also part of the UT WhatsApp group, which I think it's very beneficial to sometimes pose questions of cohorts ahead of you and also to be that support for cohorts that are now behind you. So that's a really great thing that we have at UT. That way you have that support. And to Fiona's point, similar to Alana, like we are 8 in our cohort. We actually call ourselves the Great 8. We have like a logo. We all will be going into candidacy soon, and we'll have t-shirts and like mugs and things in solidarity to like support each other going into candidacy. And as Fiona mentioned, we share a lot of things that are not just like educational, what's going on with the PhD program. We actually share like what's going on personally. A lot of us are working full time and going through the program and have aging parents or have special needs children or both. And so I think a lot of us are pulled in many directions. So it's a supportive avenue, like a sounding ground for all of us to come together. And when we are on campus, which is not common that we're all there in one place, we have others that live away from Houston that are students at UT Health. For example, this Thursday coming up, we have our Scholars Day where we'll all be on campus and just planning events where we know where we're all going to be on campus and meeting up for dinner or meeting up in person and actually forming those bonds beyond the WhatsApp are really great too, and really have helped us move forward in the program and feel supported. And then also, and Fiona can mention because she also heads up this group, but having meetups for all cohorts, that way we can actually support one another and outside of school, outside of the WhatsApp group. I think we do a great job there and how to connect with our colleagues in all cohorts.
That's really impressive. I love that. Like, it's so vital, I think. Like, I don't know, with my 2 PhD peeps, that's what I call them. I don't know that I would have, been able to suffer through some of the hardships that have gone on in life or in school. So really, that's important. And if no one's reaching out to you, don't sit around and wait. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, reach out to somebody else. And I mean, that's all it took was me just saying, hey, y'all want to jump on a Zoom and talk about this? And here we go. It really, even if no one in your cohort's reaching out, they're wanting connection too. So okay, so next we're going to talk about searching and saving the literature, and I'm going to let Holly go first on this one and talk about what she does for searching and saving the literature. It's so important.
Yeah, thank you. So, in full transparency, I think these are all lessons that we've learned along the way in regards. Like, I personally feel like I have my background as an AGA CNP with the postgrad in education. So, I did a couple different graduate degrees before I went to the PhD program. But along the way, even though you're taking research courses and other things, I never really utilized the software or a citation manager or even utilizing my accounts within for instance, PubMed or Web of Science, and the way in which I use it in the PhD program. Because we all know rigor and reproducibility are really important within the program. So I think for me, partnering with our medical librarians or your librarians that you have available to really learn the ins and outs. And each search database will have different nuances. For instance, some will have mesh terms, some will not, how you can save them, how you can export them. It looks a little bit different, and that's okay. It just takes the time to learn those nuances. So I would say my first tip is partnering with your librarian that you have at your university. We have specific medical librarians that we partner with that do help us if we have any additional questions. But I just kind of want to drive, and I have some screens open, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. And so I just want to share, I have a search open now. You guys can see my topic for my dissertation is clinical decision support systems, and my background is critical care. And so I just want to emphasize when we're conducting searches, I can't emphasize this enough that we're not just searching without being logged in. I think it's really beneficial and crucial to be able to search and get alerts. If you have your logins through PubMed or Web of Science or any of them, you can save them. And it's really instrumental to be able to go back and see your different activities, your different search criteria, your mesh terms, what you use to build your search. And these are beautiful. You can literally copy and paste them to save them to like a spreadsheet or a database, which I do to ensure I can show that evidence and documentation to my faculty. Put them in tables, and we're going to perhaps hopefully publish your systematic reviews. It's been really helpful, and I would wholeheartedly recommend to save the searches and create logins for each individual search engine. I have Web of Science open as well, and Web of Science looks a little bit different. But once you learn the nuances, they're all saved as well. These are all searches I did earlier in the semester, and the beauty is you can export them. And I would wholeheartedly recommend. And I think I had another one open as well, but just to show that they all look a little bit different. However, the ability to export them and save those mesh terms and how you combine the mesh terms and your Boolean operators is really invaluable. That way you don't have to reproduce those. And the one thing I find super helpful, if you can't perhaps tell like by now, is I'm actually on a work computer and I have different operating devices that I use throughout my workday, whether I'm going through the university or at my job at work. And you can see right now I have Zotero open. Zotero is what I use. For one, it's free, and you don't have to pay unless you have an exceptional amount of storage. But it's beautiful in the sense that it's cloud-based, and so I can operate off my MacBook at home, an iPad, my Windows computer here at work, and everything is synchronized and cloud-based. If I'm working on something for TAVR or cardiac surgery, what I'm doing on the unit, it syncs and it's cloud-based. And then if I want to pick up the project on my computer at home, everything is synchronized, all the resources I have there, it's built in. So that would be my one quick trick. As again, like I mentioned, I work full time, I go to school as well, so I'm always bouncing back and forth, utilizing different computers. And that's really helpful for me to just have a citation management system that is cloud-based, that is functional on both Windows operating system and MacBook operating system, and where I can save various projects for different things I'm working on at work, but also through school and university, and it syncs simultaneously. So that's been really helpful to help me save time as I pivot between different hats and different days of the week. And then learning to log in, save them, export them, get alerts and get updates has been really helpful to just help me save time as I progress through the program. I'll open it up to maybe Fiona or Ilana or Annette, who maybe have different resources or thoughts. But I think that's been really helpful. When I first started, I didn't know to save certain searches. And so I learned the hard way that I had to recreate them all and send all the Boolean operators and mesh terms to my faculty and how I developed a search. And so I think learning the hard way as a first year student and learning what I should be doing, I wish I would have known that beforehand. So those are things that I now definitely do all the time as a third year. However, that's something I did have to learn along the way.
I think to add to your point, not only saving the searches and how you combine everything, also when you start doing the literature search, take notes. Because what you have to write up at the end is where you started. Like you started, your initial search yielded 10,000 articles. How did you came down to 10 or 20? And because you do searches in multiple databases, sometimes you can combine them all. And other times, like PubMed, you have to go outside of it. Others, like you can combine CINAHL with Medline and other databases together. And so taking these notes to be able to then write up your methodology and how you did it is very important. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to generate that Prisma diagram where you're going to be able to explain how you went from where you started to where you ended up with using this many articles, and how did you go about narrowing everything down. So that's really important. And I personally use EndNote, but that's just what I have access to. But it's the same thing, that cloud-based, to be able to quickly navigate between different devices, to have it integrated so that you're able to cite while you write. Very important. I think that's about it.
I think someone entered in the comments about maybe Ryan, which I'd be interested to hear about. Like one thing that I have been using this semester, because we're working on systematic reviews, is Covidence. So I will say it is paid software if you use it routinely. However, as a student, or if you want to trial it, you can import up to 500 records free of charge if you want to try it out. And the beauty of Covidence is it has your audit trail and your Prisma. So you could download your Prisma and it can seamlessly be imported straight into your appendix or turn it into your faculty or to the publisher. So that's really great. But I want to hear more about other software that perhaps could make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, Rayanne is my version of that. It's free. And I too learned the hard. I've just graduated back in May, so y'all can do it. Keep up the hard work. The end will come. I took 5 years and started in 2020 before we knew there would be a pandemic. I applied to start in 2019 for that next academic year. And then here comes a pandemic, here comes a baby after 5 years of unexplained infertility. And it was just a long journey. So I just got done. Y'all can do it. Just keep pushing on. And yeah, I would recommend Rayanne if you're interested, but that's the only sort of tool that I've used. And I don't have anything for my day-to-day organization. I have like thousands and thousands of PDFs that I've saved on my old computer when I was a student. And now I'm on my work computer and I'm like trying to like organize everything and get my research related to my topic kind of streamlined, and it's a disaster.
Well, that kind of leads us right into our next topic, which is building writing habits. And I'll just say real quickly, I'm going to let Alana start on that, but I just want to say Obsidian is something that I have started using. And you can connect notes, and watch a YouTube video on it. There's so much to explain about it. But anyway, I started barely. I really can't speak to it, but it's word. I'll put it in the chat, but it's called a Zettelkasten. Just that's all I'm going to say. You can do your own research on it. But I'm going to turn it over to Alana. She and then Fiona are going to talk about building writing habits. So
I always talk about the writing. So first of all, yes, you can have like the schedule and everything that you want to write, but you cannot write empty. So you cannot ride your car on the empty tank. So you have to load it up. And how do you load it up is by reading the literature. So if you're planning on writing something the next day, you want to make sure that you're prepared, that you have enough substance to generate your writing from. But you want to make sure that you have some sort of a schedule and some sort of a ritual or routine. And I always tell, even when I teach undergrad students, have some kind of goal. If you have a paper that you have to write 10 pages, have your internal goal 1 page a day. And if you can stick to it in 10 days, you can generate the paper. You be surprised how much you can actually write if you stick to the schedule. And having those kind of like smart goals that you would say, okay, today I'm going to write 500 words. But you have to prepare yourself. Like I said, you cannot just sit down and start the timer and saying, I'm going to write if you don't have anything prepared. So you have to load up on some substance to be able to write. But one thing that really helped me, and some universities do offer like official writing groups, you can start your own writing group within your cohort and just have that accountability within the group so that you can have, okay, maybe we can meet once a week for an hour or 2 hours, whatever we have, and we can just write, take breaks, check back in to see where we at, how did we progress. Now, it doesn't mean that we're all working on the same thing. We all work on our individual items, but having that dedicated time and that schedule that keeps you accountable for what you need to accomplish is very helpful. And one thing I learned is it's called the Pomodoro technique, which is dedicating the 2 hours where you do 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break, and you do that. So it's about 4 segments that you can work on. And then keeping track of your progress. I keep Trello. It's free software where I have my different projects, my dissertation, and I have like little tasks in there that I list with due dates if needed. And so I can check it off when I complete, or if it's something that somebody else needs to work on, or what I still have to accomplish. So that really helps me to stay on track. And in terms of writing, the other thing is just keep writing. A lot of times I just write, and then I don't look back at it until I put it away for a while, and then I open it back up for editing. Because if you keep writing and editing, you're gonna get into this writing paralysis to where you just get sick of seeing the same thing and you eventually just don't even know where you at. So I often write the first rough draft that I just write. It probably looks like garbage initially, but after a while you go back and you start editing and it starts shaping a little bit. And I often also found really helpful if for all of us in the PhD program, we work on different manuscripts. So work on different manuscripts at different times. That takes your mind away from that other paper and gives you that fresh perspective on the other paper. So just rotating these, it really helps to keep your mind fresh and not stuck on that one paper that sometimes just you get into this writing paralysis. You just don't know, like sometimes you just don't want to look at it anymore. So that's those are my tips.
Yeah, and I'll kind of go off of that writing group and team kind of writing. My dissertation chair or my advisor, she started us with a writing group, and every single or every other, I should say, every other Friday for 2 hours on the calendar is a group of us. And it started off with just 3, maybe 4 of us, and now it's grown a little bit. We're all writing very different things. I'm writing about stroke. She's writing about her mental health things. Holly's a part of it. She's writing about clinical decision support things. Someone's writing about HIV. But we basically get together and it's on the calendar. And for the first, 5 minutes, everyone just goes around and kind of round table says, hey, I'm going to be working on this. This is what I hope to accomplish today. And then we do the Pomodoro technique, which is fabulous. Because if you think about writing for 2 hours, that is a long, long time. I mean, that's 1/12 of the day. But if you think about it, just 25 minutes, I can write for 25 minutes. I'll get up, get coffee for 5 minutes, come back for another 25. It goes really fast. And we also have a tracking log that at the end of every time you write, whether it's in the group setting or outside of the group setting, you log your hours so that we can see how many hours people have or have not accomplished. And it's not a competition by any means, but all of us kind of have a little competitive vibe in you, probably. You don't want to be the only one that has 0 hours on that log. So that kind of helps to motivate and keep you accountable. And then also tracks how many papers or products have come out of the writing group. Like I said, they don't all interconnect, but you can see, oh, wow, from this writing group, we've accomplished 5 papers in the past year. And for me, it's been super helpful because I'm going to use my example that I was doing a project with a pediatric neurologist. Now, I have no idea anything about pediatrics. So I wrote it all up, and then I was like, I'm intimidated. I'm taking a step back. I took a step back, but every day I was a step back, I got more and more intimidated by it. While if I would have just kept going with my writing group, I would have continued to maintain it. So then when I came back and I was like, okay, this is going to be my priority for the writing group this week, I got in the groove and it wasn't as intimidating. So just taking little chunks of time every week and it's set on your calendar, just as if you were setting to go to your doctor's appointment. You don't cancel your doctor's appointment. You won't cancel your team meeting with all your other writing friends. So I really find our writing group really, really helpful for me. Especially that little competition, even though it's internal just for me, no one else is looking at my hours, but I am. So
what do y'all use to track your hours? Y'all just have like a spreadsheet that everyone has access to?
yep, they developed basically a spreadsheet that pulls out. You write it in one Excel slide or page of the workbook, and then it creates a pivot chart into another one that calculates everyone's grand totals and things.
Oh, so each person has their own page sheet.
Their own page, and then it pulls into a pivot chart or pivot table in the first. Yep.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
I thought about tracking through that.
It's
Okay.
definitely been helpful. And like I said, no one cares what anyone else does, but I personally, I don't want to be the only one with a 0 on my name for the week.
It's
Accountability
interesting.
and motivation.
Yep.
I had this, we had this sort of like a competition, but it was part of the scientific writing course where we were actually encouraged to do these short writings, like 30 minutes a day, and then keep a log of all of your progress. And by the end of the course, you were required to post your log in a discussion board. So what you accomplished, what you did. So it was like, okay, I cannot post a blank thing or so it's just
Right.
internal motivator keeps you accountable for your things and it just keeps it all together. Also, it helps you avoid procrastination if possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really need to. I'm not part of a writing group, so y'all have really motivated me. All right. So next, we're going to talk about some time management, and then we'll let whoever wants to add anything to all the good info we have, we'll open it up for whoever wants to share. But let me talk a little bit about time management. I'm going to share my screen because I just threw this little thing together really quickly. Wait, here we go. Just threw this together real quickly so it would all be like written out. Because I had like several little things I wanted to talk about. So the first thing is just protecting your prime brain time. And this is something that I scheduled out. So I put out like, this is my time that I'm going to do my hard stuff. That has really helped me when I heard about this. It's like, oh, that makes so much sense. Instead of trying to, put my brain in a state of trying to do the hard thing when all this other, whatever, my brain's not focused on it yet right now. And it's not like primed and ready. So I just pick out that time of day. And I have only like 3 or 4 times a week that I've scheduled out. Like, this is my prime brain time. I'm going to try to really put my brain to work on the hard stuff. And I haven't always been this scheduled about it. And so this has helped me to be more efficient when I do sit down to work on hard things. So that way I know. And I'm a night person. I was a night nurse. So honestly, 9 p.m. to 12 is like, if I can get everybody to bed and everything in my house shut down, I can really crank out some good work from 9 p.m. to midnight or 1. And then I will schedule a couple of mornings at work where I don't necessarily have a lot of, I don't have a lot of teaching things, not a lot of things demanding my time, and I'll schedule out like 2 hours and like from say 9 to 11 or 10 to 12 before lunch. I'll say nothing's gonna interrupt this time. This is what I'm doing in this time, which is whatever it is that's hard. And I set it like a meeting with myself, and I taught myself that a long time ago, like, quit canceling meetings with yourself, like quit canceling on yourself. No, you have to focus and prioritize yourself. The other thing I did during all my coursework is listen as much as I can. I'm a very busy mom. I was a mom of teenagers, now emerging adults, and also worked. And I take care of my mother now, which off and on, I've kind of been a distant caregiver of my mother for several years. She has Alzheimer's. And so anyway, without getting into all my personal stuff, the point is I was just on the go all the time. So I would, whatever we're learning statistics that week, whatever we were learning in quant that week, I was like listening to YouTube videos. I was, listening to podcasts about it. I was listening. I've even found books on some things that I was like, want to listen to books about it. If I have textbooks, I would get listen to those. So that way I'm not just sitting and reading. So when I'm folding laundry, when I'm cleaning the kitchen, when I'm mopping floors, when I'm driving, I would be listening, and whatever my topic was that I, decided that week, that's what I was going to focus on learning, or that day I was going to focus on really learning a lot about X topic. I would just try to listen to as much as I could about that topic. And then I still would read what I needed to read sometimes and skim what I needed to skim. But I found that really helped me learn at a much faster pace. And that way I wasn't just stuck in desk mode all the time to learn, or read mode all the time. Batching small tasks. This whole time batching thing I learned about years and years ago has helped me so much. And that is, okay, all this administrative stuff we all know. I'm full-time nursing faculty in an undergraduate program. There's so much administrative things I have to do, even for school. There's some things like working on my portfolio stuff, or just doing things that I need to do. That's all like what I consider administrative tasks. And I will just have like, in my Google Calendar, I run everything off of Google Calendar. I'm like, okay, here's administrative hour, and I just put in the, description under Google Calendar of that time slot. Like have the event administrative time, and then I'll just start adding in everything that needs to get done during that time. And does it all get done within that hour? Usually not. And I just copy what's not done and put it on the next administrative hour. So that's how I have learned to really just like free my brain up for the hard mental labor of learning and writing and reading and thinking. That's something I was also so grateful that I was encouraged by my boss and some of my mentors here at work. They're like, you have to schedule thinking time after you've consumed all this information. And so that's helped me a lot. A daily 2-column to-do list. Now, my to-do lists are I have a lot of different to-do lists, but I do keep every day that I'm like, what has to be done is on a separate list. Like, this has to get done today. I put that on a list, and I really try to knock that out. I usually try to focus at least on the top 3. And then I keep a running to-do list so that when I'm in the middle of reading, writing, whatever I've got going on, and something pops in my head, like right now, just yesterday, it was order pecans from this local grower here, so I could have my pecans for all my holiday baking. And I was like, I got to order pecans. So I keep a running to-do list. So then I just write it down on that to-do list. I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm still handwriting sometimes. But on my to-do list is like, okay, this is off my brain now. I get as much stuff out of my brain as I can. That's helped a lot. And then keeping a parking lot for ideas. This is so important to me and has helped me so much. I actually had a notebook because when I first started, I have a mentor here. She's a DMP, one of my good friends. All through my nursing career, she and I have known each other. And she's like, get a notebook, and every idea you have, just write it down. And so that's what I started. Now I do that in Obsidian. That's the software that I use for note taking. I try to keep all my ideas. Like, if I have an idea, I try to get it in there. But if not, I'll just write it on a post-it note. I'll put it on the notes on my app on my phone, because you're going to have a lot of ideas that come to you at 3 a.m. While you're in the shower, while you're driving, while you're, just you probably had 5 ideas that have come to your brain just sitting listening to this presentation. So you need to keep something that is readily available for you in a spot you can always get back to, and you train yourself to get back to that spot and say, this is my parking lot of ideas. And that way all those things stay in a place where you can pull them out of your brain, or pull them out of your notes and get them out of your brain. That's what I'm trying to say. And then the last thing is just planning your week intentionally. I just try to plan, like on Friday, I try to plan for Monday, but honestly, I work a lot on the weekends. with it, whether it be school or work, but I try to plan a week at a time, like what's major that's got to get done, what must be focused on this week, and then I try to stay ahead of the deadlines as much as I can. I'm definitely one of those that I work well under pressure, so sometimes I can like have the best schedule of all the things, and then I just can't get motivated to do it till that you know deadline is kind of pressuring me, and then I can block things out. But I try not to do that, because then I have to just basically like say no to my kids, say no to my husband, say no to anything, and just focus to get the deadline done. And that puts me under so much stress, and it takes me a while to recover from that stress. And I've noticed that that's been worse since I've been in the PhD program, recovering from that high level of stress. That used to, I could crank stuff out from 9 till 1 or 2 in the morning and get up the next day and be fine. And I can't age. And also, this is not stuff you can crank out. Grad school is not stuff you can crank out the last minute and it be quality. So you really have to, plan. And I think that's really been, helpful to me, is just to really focus on the priorities and then schedule the time otherwise. And like sometimes, I'll be honest, I just leave work, leave my desk, leave home, go to a coffee shop, and I say, I'm not leaving this coffee shop until this is done, because my brain just can't focus otherwise. So that's been helpful to me as well. So that pretty much sums up everything that we wanted to share with y'all. So do y'all have anything
wanna-
y'all want to share?
I just want to add something. You mentioned about listening and how it is sometimes very much time consuming, and you think you just keep staring at the screen all the time. We're in front of the screen all the time, and listening, how it helps. I think in the age of AI, we have to take advantage of it and allow AI to read those numerous pages of PDF files to us. You have the opportunity to work smarter, not harder, and use AI to read those papers to you, to help you get away from the screen for a little bit. And sometimes also what I found very helpful was, in the car, I don't even do anything related to schoolwork or anything. I have my library app and I have my favorite books, and I just rent them and I listen to the books, audiobooks. So that keeps my brain separated and not constantly in this mode of working, 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 working. So I think listening really helps to kind of get away from the screen too.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I have intentionally listened to audiobooks as well on my commutes to and from. And I will say that I have learned that my quality of work is much better if it's not the quantity that I'm focused on. So it's like if I schedule the play, the downtime, and I try to be really present. Like if I'm with my kids at home, and with my husband, I try to be present there. I wasn't like that at first. And I will say, getting into planning the dissertation and stuff, it's harder right now for me to turn that off. But I love that reminder. We have to turn our brains off and get a break, or we're going to burn out.
Yeah.
And the other thing, I wanted to ask Alana, if you could share how you organize your notes when you write, because you shared that with us one time in one of our meetings, and you were talking about, do you remember, you were talking about how you like will put your thoughts down, and then I can't remember what software it was you said you used to like organize your notes.
So it was the liquid text that I used when I was
Oh,
reading. So liquid text, it's very similar to while you were reading, say, printed out PDF or something, and you would put tabs or you would highlight something. Now you have it in the digital format. In liquid text, if you I think if you use Zotero or Mendeley, you can integrate it and those PDF files will get uploaded in there. I use EndNote, so I have to manually upload. But if I was reading, and it's also cloud-based, so if I'm reading the article on my iPad, I can highlight notes and put them on the workspace. And so those excerpts will be together. It helped me organize my thoughts if I was writing either it's discussion post or organizing for literature review or anything that I was working on as I was reading. That's my way to drop some of the important things that I've noticed in the articles, and so they would be available to me on workspace, and then I could organize these workspaces based on what I needed to do with it. So it's very similar to, yes, you could use the Covidence, all these others, but liquid text for me is very much resembling like having post-it notes and sticky notes and highlighter all in one place.
Yay, good. Thank you for sharing that again, because I know everyone here probably really appreciated that. I know I needed to hear it again. So,
Yeah, that's
and then the one other thing I want to say about reading, sorry, I got my teacher finger up, but is you don't have to read every word of every PDF. Every article that you read, you don't have to sit and read every word. Sometimes you're just wanting to swoop down and get, like, you're looking at just inclusion exclusion criteria, or you're just looking at, methodology stuff, or you're just looking for what, I did this when I was trying to find a knowledge gap a lot. I played around with several topics this semester, but anyway, the point is was looking for knowledge gaps, and I'm just looking at future research suggestions and recommendations for, what to do now after we know this knowledge. And I was really just focusing on that instead of trying to read every word of every article. Someone told me that, and I was just like, well, okay, that makes a lot of sense and saves a lot of time. And so you can always go back. But I use Zotero is what I use, but you need to use something. Whatever you decide to use for your citation manager, you need to be using something, because you will lose those articles. I have all the topics that I've played around with, about 4 different topics of, like, different dissertation ideas. And I have all that. And then I've got one published article that I did that I have all of that saved. And that has helped a lot. Because I went back to an original topic idea after spending a lot of time looking at other topics. So I don't recommend that. Okay. Those that are here, if you want to turn your camera on and your audio, we would love to hear from you. If nothing else, if you just want to introduce yourself, we would love to say hello and get to know you if you would like. And if you have any tips you want to share, we're here for it.
Hi, my name's Robin. I'm Robin Clyett. I'm from Georgia State University in Atlanta, and I am 1 semester and a half away from didactic being completed for my PhD. So I'm super happy about that. Yeah. Some of the best advice we were told when we first started was pick a topic that you can graduate with and stick with it. But you know what? And I appreciate, I love EndNote. It's probably my favorite. I don't know what I'd have done with all those PDFs had I not had that as a resource, but finding ways to do that stinking Prisma diagram drives me insane. It's just hard. It's just hard remembering where you found stuff. And so I appreciate the idea of logging in and saving things, but then having to go through and find duplicates and things that are trash and throw those out. It's so time consuming for me. I love the idea of liquid text, and I'm wondering if that's similar to OneNote. No,
not quite. It's
not quite.
No.
Okay, I'll look at it and see. I use OneNote now, but it's just all over the place, and so I don't know. it just feels like I'm all over the place looking for stuff. And I know I have it. It's just where did I put it?
Yeah, and Liquid Text, honestly, there is a student subscription. It's a paid software, but there was a point in my PhD life where I said, this is saving my sanity. I need
Yes.
this.
Yeah, I'd be willing to pay as well. But yeah, thank you for hosting this today. It was very helpful.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Anyone else want to share?
I think we have Crystal.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, actually. I am a first year PhD student at Cizik School of Nursing at UT Health with Fiona, not with Fiona, but near Fiona, right? And so I'm sorry I arrived late. I actually had some work I was finishing this morning, and the chaos of having a couple kids too is but in any case, I may have missed this because I did miss the first 25 minutes, I think. So if this is duplicate, I have been struggling just in my first semester. We've had these assignments with tons of literature, like the Prisma, managing large amounts of literature, and I'm going back to school. So like a lot of my academic skills that I learned as an undergraduate decades ago, I have technology now, and I'm like, oh, I have to figure out how to use the technology. Number one, that's its own challenge. And number two, I've been really searching for things on YouTube, videos on YouTube from other PhD disciplines about skills that I feel like I need to learn to make myself efficient. And one of them that I found that that I spent a lot of time trying to organize, and I think it'll pay off, is an Excel matrix that I've been able to program together with my EndNotes and ship like large files over into an Excel, and then you can sift through for themes. So say I've got a ridiculous like 600 articles that came out. If I wanted to screen for certain terms on the Excel, I can't do it on EndNotes as well because you have to individually look at the documents. But on the Excel, once I've shipped them out into an Excel matrix, and there's some templates online that you can just sort of grab. They're free templates that you can grab. I edited mine for things that I think I'm going to need in the future, and I could probably revise it. But half of the matrix is auto-populated by what I've pulled from EndNotes. And then from there, I can pull out certain themes on different columns, like what was the sample size? What was the type of literature? Like, was it a review? Was it a qualitative? Was, what design? So there's several different columns that they recommend to do that. And it just kind of structures in a big glance. You can color code things, but it took me a long time to figure it out. I'm still figuring it out. And I guess my question is, have you guys used any of that type of organization? Are you primarily using like your citation manager and stuff? And the context, which I see it on videos, is usually for the dissertation. And I'm not near dissertation yet, but I think I'm going to probably use a lot of the articles I'm already doing at some point for my dissertation. And that's why I'm trying to set it all up for me now so that I'll already have some cumulative stuff done. I think it would be overwhelming if I did it late in the game. But anyway, just wondering if you guys had.
I
This
would
is
just say,
interesting. Yeah.
oh, go ahead, Alana.
No, it's just I've never heard of using Excel to import some of the information into it and then pretty much searching within it.
I would like to know, what do I search on YouTube to watch a video about this?
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
What do you put into the search? Because I wouldn't even know how to describe that.
It's actually called a literature matrix. If you look,
Okay.
I was
Very
looking for
familiar with
videos.
that.
I was just searching for answers to, like, this is so overwhelming to too many articles, and how
Yeah.
to possibly really use this. And I've really spent, I'll be honest with you, I've spent hours trying to figure it out. And I think I'm probably 80% there. I've got another bit to kind of figure out how, because
So,
I don't know Excel super well,
so
but
you're just searching literature matrix with Excel inputs or something?
yeah, let me just,
That's just very,
Oh, I see. There is something creating a literature matrix in Excel.
that's it.
okay.
That's exactly, and there's a lot of videos, like different strategies, on how to do it. I think one of those videos had a link to their Excel matrix and I just grabbed it. They're all pretty similar. And then I didn't like everything they had
Yeah.
on
Like I,
their,
yeah, and I think most of us we've done literature matrices in Excel where we have, but we're like hand putting in all of our info. It's not automatically dumping from some like EndNote or
yes.
Zotero or anything like that. So like that would be amazing.
So it's not an auto dump button, but from EndNotes, because that's the one that I'm using. And I'm sure the other ones have something similar. You have to create an output style in Excel. You have to create it.
So
That,
we're,
and each output style under the Excel, it's your own creation. You have to kind of figure out how to do that. You can label your columns to match your output style, and then you just press go. That's the cool thing. And once you press go, 600 things are all pre-populated in there.
yeah.
Of course, there's going to be a little bit of empty boxes here and there, stuff that's not present or EndNotes.
Now I've used
What's not
SciSpace.
great about it is you can't use your Excel as, I mean, it doesn't replace the need for the citation manager, and I
Right.
like
You
trying
picked
to
up
use the
that.
citation manager by itself. I'm not seeing that big picture. I'm not seeing the themes and trends, like looking for gaps and things like that. It's hard to visualize that. And I guess I'm a little bit of a visual learner, and I like to look at those bigger things. Anyway,
Like
so
what helped me find literature gaps is just reading a lot of papers, reading the end of a lot of papers also. But searching really well for your specific topic, like narrowing down your search, that's helped a lot to not have to weed through a lot of papers. So just getting really clear and on your Pico, and narrowing that down. And then also, like I've used SciSpace before. I don't know if y'all ever heard of SciSpace. It's AI, but it's all academic, like scientific journal focused. And I have actually put in PDFs of that, or like, and then have it create the literature matrix columns for me. It'll create you a literature matrix. Now, I'm not publishing that as anything that I did as a literature matrix. That's just helps me to look at a lot of comparison of articles without having to create a literature matrix from scratch. But sounds like you're ahead of the game, Crystal. I think you told us some things we didn't know about. So we need to see what you got, what's going on with that. So that's awesome. And yeah, I just saving all of that to where you can get back to it would be really important from my seat now, planning that dissertation study after all your coursework's done. So, all right. Does anyone have anything else? I just really appreciate those of you that shared and those of you that came to listen in. That we're so happy that you're here. One thing I want to talk about real quick before I jump off is I want to share my screen again, and hold on, forgot to click. And I want to talk about Austin, our conference that's coming up. You can scan that QR code and get more information, but the SNRS 40-year anniversary is in February, and this is research on steroids. These conferences are not just about presentations. There is a keynote. Usually there's two like keynote speakers that are, it's research focused, but you're gonna get to experience a lot of poster presentations. You can walk around every session. They have different posters up, and also podium presentations, and you can pick your topics. You pick what topics you want to listen to. Maybe there's a presenter you want to listen to. Maybe you're just really, I'll do everything older adult focused. I would go do all kinds of older adult stuff. At one point I was going to do VR study, so I was looking at technology stuff. You can pick whatever topics you want to listen to and go listen to really good podium presentations. It's very motivational for research, but the best part of SNRS is the networking. This is a research society, and they are so student friendly. They're so student nurturing, and students are very much welcome to the table with a lot of the mastermind researchers in the country and the nursing world. And there are several editors of journals there. You get a lot of knowledge about publication as well. Just they have different schools and different entities that have booths there that I've been recruited for jobs every year that I've gone. It's really the center of research, and this is, our southern states, and it's part of the larger national organization of, all the, I don't know what it's called, but anyway, there's I think 3 or 4 smaller research societies, and then there's the National Research Society for Nursing. So it's super
Okay.
fun, and just very energizing and motivating. So I highly encourage you to come and consider if you want to submit an abstract. Don't be scared to submit an abstract here. They have a lot of opportunity for that. So I presented last year. I'm taking a bachelor's student this year. Her poster was accepted, and we did a VR feasibility study. So, so we're doing that this year. So, and a lot of us will be at conference. So,
And the best part, there will be a breakfast for Student Network,
yes,
and we'll be recruiting for roles of different
right.
kinds
We
within the
will
network.
be. And after the conference is when we will put out our elections for the student leaders for next year. So
And Sarah had a hand
Oh,
up.
yeah. And Net and Student Network leaders, this is a great presentation. I think a lot of what you said and shared today, the habits you form now are going to help you so much as you begin tenure track careers and you get into working. So great suggestions. I also wanted to share, in addition to the conference and the student breakfast, we're going to do the speed mentoring session for students. So be on the lookout for that. And then also Monday, December 8th at 12 Eastern, 11 Central, there's going to be another student presentation about how to put together a poster. So please be on the lookout for those emails as well. We have some great opportunities for students coming up.
When is that again? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, of course. It's
The
December
date?
8th, Monday, December 8th at 12:11 Central.
thanks, Sarah, for sharing
Of
that.
course.
I had a note here for that, and then, I should have made a slide about that too. So, but yeah, thanks. Cause that's really, even if you're not doing a poster right now, come and listen to the presentation. So it'll help you when you're thinking about doing a poster.
Yeah, well, and you guys are doing such a great job. I'm really glad for everything that you're doing for the students.
I think it's just really great to have people that are going through this together. And I love that there's different programs because we get to learn from each other too. Because a lot of times we only connect to our program, and that's, one basic train of thought and philosophy, and we get to connect and see what other people are doing.
And the
So,
other thing I was going to put a plug in, we are also trying to shift the focus a little bit. I know this is a research-driven organization, but we want to also include DNP students, DNP nurses. So if you know anyone, let them know about the organization, let them know about the opportunities that they could have. So it's not just a PhD sort of organization. It's anybody who's either generating new knowledge or using the knowledge to change the practice. So all are welcome.
very much so. That is one thing too, how welcoming this group has been. I mean, I'm not a DNP, but I see a lot more every year that I've gone. I see more DNPs presenting and being a part of the core of the organization. So, all right, I think that's all we have. So thank you, Casey, for the help that you've given us and with the recording and setting everything up. And so we will see y'all next time around. Hopefully we see you at conference. If not, then just watch here for your email, and we'll see you at our next webinar or virtual gathering.
Bye. Happy